Welcome back to another Jazz basketball breakdown.
Not just another.
Oh, man.
Bro,
What a freaking game.
just like I was saying right before this, this gives me hope.
Yeah. The lineup we closed with was freaking fantastic.
A real lineup, something we've been asking for a while, right?
Yes. Had both offense and defense in that lineup.
That looked, whether we had won or lost, we hit big shots, man. Lauri Markkanen looked like a star down the stretch.
Yes, he did.
That looked like a playoff squad.
Yes.
Out there. That doesn't mean that we would beat the Thunder in a playoff series, but that looked like a playoff squad.
Yeah.
Man, that gives me hope. The way that we played Collins, Kessler, Markkanen for a bit with Keontae George and Chris Dunn.
Mm-hmm.
And then we brought in Fontecchio a little bit after that for John Collins. Man.
Yeah,
that gives me hope. That's the lineup.
Yeah, this game was super back and forth throughout the whole game. Man, you can't talk about this game without talking about Chris Dunn. Holy crap.
A stat line that looked like a Utah zip code, 85432 or something.
Dude, holy crap. He put on a show against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Now, Shai still got points, and he will, but, man, he made him work. Only got to the foul line 5 times, they said. That is huge.
And several times on normal plays where Shai gets an easy bucket or whatever like that, he just you could tell didn't know what to do. There were so many times where he tried to attack Dunn in like 4 different ways, and it was just like, you take it.
Exactly.
Man, if you don't think Chris Dunn helps this team or is a good ball player, go watch the second half of this game and watch him put on a show.
Third quarter was unbelievable. Fourth quarter had some nice parts too. Like we were talking, we didn't identify this talent and go trade for him or offer something. We waited. I mean, this is like a movie script.
Right.
We waited until the G League season was done last year, till it was over.
Yep.
And we're like, hey, you guy that's probably going to be bagging groceries or something, working a side job. Why don't you come in and, we'll give you a 10-day.
We'll give you a 10-day. See what happens.
Okay, how about another 10-day? And you're signed.
Yeah.
And now you're worked your way into the starting lineup. And
we need to freaking have you long-term. Oh, my gosh. And him and we've asked, right? We've been asking to play him and Keontae together. Seamless. Keontae was hustling on defense. Keontae's working on defense. It is an infectious thing. When you put defenders like this on the court, the other players want it. It brings the energy and infectious on defense where Keontae's working. Communication was clearly better through our entire defensive rotation down the stretch. And offensively, it was just Keontae works well on the ball, works well off the ball, and just going back and forth and seamless playing those two next to each other.
It's what we've been calling for since the preseason, man.
It's the exact same reason why Tony Jones wants to say that DeJounte Murray is not a good fit next to Keontae George in the future. Makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense because we just showed right there how a lineup can work with Chris Dunn and Keontae playing next to each other.
So there's sometimes that DeJounte would take the ball.
Yep.
And
Keontae plays off ball.
And he plays off ball just like we did tonight. Or there are times that Keontae would take the ball just like Trae Young does 99% of the time on that team.
Yeah, that's why
DeJounte would play off the ball. And
that's why it doesn't work in Atlanta.
I think DeJounte averages like 22, 5, and 5
right
doing that. So it would be fine, Tony.
Yeah.
It would be all right.
It blows me away. But, man, I loved watching Keontae. How many games have me and you been asking, please put Keontae and Chris Dunn on the court together for a good stretch and see what happens?
And we finally closed. So 5 minutes left, 5 minutes and some, game was tied, right? And we went to this lineup, and immediately we're like, oh,
we brought in Markkanen.
It's the unicorn lineup.
Yeah.
It's the unicorn lineup. We brought in Markkanen, and we saw Clarkson walk off, and we're like, oh, did we really? Because we thought for sure that Keontae was going to go off.
Yeah.
That's usually the switch that Hardy does. Like, oh my goodness, we've got the unicorn lineup. Is it going to work? Not only do we have Keontae and Dunn out there to finish the game, but we're running the apparently impossible John Collins and Walker Kessler together.
Yeah, and the thing is funny is like we didn't score. I don't think we ended up scoring with that lineup and the couple possessions we kind of ran back and forth, but we had good looks.
Yeah, both teams were scrambling back and forth, and neither
we had
team
good
scored.
looks. Collins had a vicious block in that stretch, and there wasn't really any spacing problems or anything like that. It's a lineup I would like to experiment more with because it's a lineup that could be the future lineup of the team. So I'd like to play with it more now that Collins, Markkanen, and Kessler are getting more comfortable in the season, but also getting more comfortable playing next to each other. I think a big part of why it didn't work at the start of the season was because Collins was on a new team and Kessler's head was nowhere near in the right space.
That's true. That's for sure.
And so there's a lot of other things besides them just being on the court together. So I'd love to see this lineup more. Man, it was fun. It was fun to watch them close and fun to watch the Thunder team, who have been dominant this year, not really know what to do down the stretch, how to score.
That was Jalen Williams. I mean, he's a heck of a player, by the way. Man, that kid impresses me. They had him on Lauri Markkanen late. And so Lauri had 28 points by the end of the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up having a huge third quarter. Doesn't get any shots up, I believe, until his 2 shots within the last minute and a half of the game.
Right.
That's obviously got to change. But it seemed like there were some times in the game where we intentionally sought him out late. Even though he didn't get the mass numbers we would like as far as how many times we feed him, it seems like he's looking for more matchups, even though he's guarded in the key, just like we talk about.
Yeah.
Even if he makes an action, if there's somebody on him, it doesn't matter.
Right.
That's the ball anyways.
And that's the thing. That's why I love Keontae and Chris Dunn playing with him. Because when they're playing with him and he rolls off of that, they just give him the ball, right? Oh, okay, you got a 6'2" guard guarding you. Here's the ball. Clear out and go to work. And make the right decision. It wasn't just shooting every single time. There were several times he bodied, brought the defender and kicked it, and the ball moved and swung around. And so run more through Markkanen like we should. And that's been the big question. Jordan Clarkson has very, very obviously hit big buckets for this team, closing games the entire time he's been for his career in Utah. There's no question he has hit crazy games, crazy buckets down the stretch. Big question has been, well, if he's not on the court, who's going to hit these buckets? We have an all-star named Lauri Markkanen. He's pretty good. I don't know if you guys know this.
He's a monster.
He's all right.
And if you allow Keontae to get a shot in rhythm, it doesn't matter who's on him. I mean, Lou Dort is an elite defender as well.
That dude.
And 2 huge threes right in his mug at the end. Like shook him, created enough space to get off a tight shot, popped it.
Right after creating a great play where he beats Dort, kicks it to Kessler, who had cut at the exact moment, so Kessler kind of had to swing it, but Markkanen moved greatly. Ball just click, click, click. Ball moves, and Keontae seems to have no fear, man. It's like he hits a mode where it's time to hit a bucket, and he's just like, it doesn't. He's 20 years old. I don't care. I'm gonna freaking beat you, you know. And man, it is fun watching him grow. But we have guys who can close and who can hit big buckets. Like, I mean, Markkanen's 3 that he hits as he's fading away to catch and shoot 3 is such a difficult shot to hit. And then they try to put Aaron Wiggins on him. Sweet. And so he just easy.
Yep.
It was easy. And
that's a star move.
Yeah.
Down the stretch. Last minute of the game, that's a star move. Get the ball to your star. It doesn't matter who's on him. Pops him, creates enough space, bucket.
Yeah.
That's what stars do. Man, there's so many things we could look at there. I thought that Olynyk, when he was in there for the most part, was creating some unbelievable passes.
His passage on Collins on the pick and roll was nice.
Man, there's sometimes that it looks like he's only looking to pass to Clarkson. That's kind of a weird thing, but man, today looked like he was really spreading the ball around. I feel that had Ochai Agbaji been healthy in there today, that he's a player late in the stretch too that could have fit in if we need the versatility with him and Fontecchio. Taylor Hendricks down the stretch. I mean, these are all players that can fit into a game like this with their versatility of 3 and D. and moving the ball.
And would be a lot better than putting in Dominic.
Dominic, brother.
I want that dude to be successful, and it just has not worked out. But yeah, no, we have options on this team as we develop some of our younger players to be able to play, and it's exciting.
Very exciting. So the next game is Thursday night after the trade deadline.
After the trade deadline. So it's very possible.
Very possible.
Very possible. Several players just played their last game in a Jazz uniform.
Very true. We're
Very
at
possible.
Phoenix Thursday night. So the deadline's like 4 or 5 Eastern time, right? Or something like that.
I want to say 3. It's either 3 or 4. I want to say, maybe I'm saying 3 because it's 5 Eastern because 3 our time. But yeah, it's right around that kind of just afternoon time. So
last year we waited till freaking 15 minutes before the deadline. Pretty sure
he's like that.
Ainge is sitting right there on the old fax machine. Beep. Oh, 3 minutes left. I can hit it now.
Waiting for it to go through.
Exactly. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. We've got some pieces that we could say, let's see what happens the rest of the season. Or are we gonna be a buyer? Are we gonna be a seller? Are we gonna be a combination of both? I think we've talked about it before. I would like to pick up a piece that advances the cause a little bit, and I would like to sell off a couple of pieces for some assets at the same time, maybe to pay for it. Maybe just kind of shuffle things around. I don't know. That's kind of what I have my hopes on. There's quite a bit of talk on the radio today about kind of different proposals and talks. Mark Meads with ESPN put out a thing, obviously talking about Clarkson possibly to the Knicks for Fournier and another piece to go in there that may be Grimes.
Right.
Maybe, first round pick that we're hoping. So it'd be interesting to see if something like that goes down or what happens. But I would be surprised if there was nothing.
I would be shocked if we didn't do anything. I would, with how active we've been and where we're still trying to put together the right pieces. There, it wouldn't make sense to stay where we're at. It really wouldn't. I truthfully think Sexton's trade value is the highest it's ever going to be in his career, besides maybe a month ago. But and I also think he has fully reverted back to the guy that we were at the start of the season saying, hey, he's a solid 6-man who can come give you energy. And that's about it, but he's not a starting caliber player. He went through a long stretch where he was, and his
decision-making seemed to be consistently better.
Yes, and seems all the way back to not really looking to create for anyone but himself. I'd be happy if we kept him and put him as a 6-man on this team, but I'd also be fine if we traded him for the right piece.
It'd be interesting to see who out there would really need that kind of a piece. I know that there's talk of like Milwaukee early on in the season. Had some eye on him, that kind of stuff. That'll be interesting to see. His numbers right now are still quite high, right?
Yeah.
Putting up big numbers. We just the ball's not moving like it should,
and this
like it was before.
This was a perfect example of that. Is in the first quarter, we ran heavily through Markkanen. We got really good buckets. Keontae comes in. We run heavily through Keontae. We got really good buckets, easy buckets. Second quarter, Lauri Markkanen doesn't ever freaking touch the ball, which just makes no sense. And the ball seems to be just not moving around as much. Fourth quarter, start of the fourth quarter, ball's sticking a little bit, but our team's playing much better. As soon as that lineup comes in of Keontae and Chris Dunn, the ball just starts to just seamlessly move. Every single player on the team's involved.
Yeah.
And so everyone is active on offense and defense. It's winning basketball because when you get every single player certain touches and moving the ball and the ball's not sticking, those players all also want to play together defensively. It's kind of a give and take with that and understanding on certain players. If they don't ever see the ball, they're not really going to give you much on either side of the ball. So on either side of the court. And so Yeah, it's really showing that he's not moving the ball as much.
When he and Clarkson were on the court together, it was really stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like you said, it changed immediately when we brought in a couple of those other pieces in. Man, all of a sudden, the way that we handled the last 5 minutes of the fourth was high level. Once again, that gives me hope.
I very excited, and Keontae George he had hit the rookie wall at full speed. It seemed like he hit that and just like knocked himself out. He hit the rookie wall so hard, and then found some resilience.
All of a sudden, he's finding some offensive moxie, and
holy shit! It seems like he just like hit it for a bit and then just like leaped right over it, and just he looks very similar to the guy who before he got hurt, he started to look similar, even better in some ways, and man, it's exciting for what his future is.
And I love it when he and Dunn were in there together in that stretch, and Dunn would get the ball and just immediately fling it over to him, just be like, "Take it, Rook.
Yep,
you freaking got this, man."
Yep.
And he'd go off and run to the corner, and yeah, that's I love the chemistry of that group out there. Man, if we get a chance to run with this group down and get into a play-in game or a playoff series, win or lose, man, that would be fun, dude.
And we're not an easy win.
No.
For any team, we're not a team that if we squeak into the playoffs and we're the 8 or 7 seed, you're probably going to beat us for sure. We don't have the horses to kind of for a full 7-game series yet, but we're not going to freaking roll over and take it.
Right. And right now it would be OKC or the Timberwolves or the Nuggets.
Possibly
when the Nuggets
Thunder
decide to start playing.
Or the Clippers. The Clippers are 25-5 over the last 30 games.
Clippers are pretty monstrous. The way once they got Harden and that thing is clicking. Mm-hmm. That's true.
So any of those 4, and I was actually talking to someone in my work today that any of those 4 teams kind of seem solidified as your top 4.
Mm-hmm.
Now wherever they end up 1 through 4, no idea.
Yep, and I don't think teams are as worried about where they place in the regular season. They want, home court advantage would be nice, but kind of the whole Miami Heat recipe for last year, the way they pounded it out. But
a team like the Thunder is probably more concerned than a team like the Nuggets.
Yeah, I agree with that. Younger team. But man, that would be fun to see with how we look like a playoff team with playoff toughness.
And back-to-back games where we've shown that, and man, tonight was fun. And it felt like second quarter, man, it just felt like we were gonna get it. We were down to like 9 or 10 going into halftime, and it really felt like the Thunder were gonna run away with this game, and
they were getting open 3 after open 3 with that little just easy, slow pick and roll,
easy looks,
pick and pop with Holmgren. Yeah,
and then it was like Chris Dunn and Lauri Markkanen went into the second half, and then they were like, you know what? No, I want to win this game.
Yeah.
I feel like winning, so we're gonna win. And yeah, so what an exciting game. If this is the last game for some of our players and trades do happen, what a great game to end on. As a team, I think that would kind of be awesome for kind of the memories there and stuff like that. And I'm excited for it's tomorrow. I feel like something's got to happen tomorrow. I don't know why. Something's got to happen tomorrow, man. Don't make me wait till Thursday. Don't do nothing and piss me off.
I was checking my phone several times, making sure it was on. It was charged.
I just like constantly just nothing. Are we sure? Did you forget to report it?
It's on. The Wi-Fi's on. Okay.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I mean, the next 40 hours are going to be intense. So here's to hoping something happens. I'm excited. And I'm excited with some of the changes our coach has been slowly making.
Thank you for that roster, that lineup finally.
Yes. Now let's do it more.
Run out games.
Yeah.
You can play Chris Dunn in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that is possible. That is a lot of times. That's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's a good thing to run the offense through Lauri Markkanen to close out games. Also, that's also very good. So we play Suns on Thursday at Phoenix. Could be a new look Jazz. We could be kind of waiting for some people to show up, so it could be an interesting game.
Sometimes you get that weird kind of limp game as players have
As players are
left
coming
and
in.
everybody's
Yeah.
kind of emotionally
So-
affected. And yeah.
So Thursday could be a rough one. Thursday could be interesting. So I'm just excited for hopefully to make some moves. Feels like Christmas. It really does. This is like the time of year, and for a team like the Jazz, this is like Christmas morning. And man, if I wake up to absolutely nothing, lump of coal, I'm gonna be pissed.
I'm not sure how I'll take it.
So, but we'll see. Hopefully, we have exciting news on Thursday. We'll see how that game goes on Thursday. If some trades happen, and that's a really rough game, don't look too much into it. It's pretty normal. But either way, tonight was freaking fun.
Awesome.
We'll see you guys Thursday. Thanks, guys.